Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm gonna start doing these videos in English because I've seen some requests on my videos on how to solve this programming puzzles in English. So if you like this video, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, I'll continue to upload more. And also, please do leave some comments on whatever your thoughts are regarding this video. So with that said, let's move on into the problem. So the problem is a very easy one. It's called best time to buy and sell stock. And it says the following, that you are given an array of prices where any given price is the price of a stock, right? And what you want to do is maximize your profit by choosing a single day where you buy the stock, obviously being the cheapest, and choosing a different day in the future, obviously after you buy, to sell that stock. So obviously you want to buy cheap and then sell at a more expensive price, right? So obviously this wouldn't be, essentially you want to maximize your profit. So you don't want to buy at 7. 1 is a really good price to buy, so you buy at 1. You don't want to sell at 5 because you make 4. You don't want to sell at 3 because you make 2. And you want to sell at 6 because that is when you maximize your profit. You buy for 1, sell for 6, and your total profit is a 5, right? Which is 6 minus 1. So that is the gist. Now, look at this and see what the problem is here. You have an output of 0. Why? Because you cannot make a profit whatsoever, because if you buy here, you cannot sell. Here, you would sell for a loss. If you buy here, you sell for a loss. If you buy here, you sell for a loss, etc. So on and so forth. So at some point, you need any value after whichever value you choose to buy has to be larger. Otherwise, there's no possible profit. Now, that being said, you have to be very careful, because I know that a lot of people can think of this of, I don't know, buying, just traversing through the array, getting the minimum value, traversing through the array, getting the maximum value, and then just do maximum minus minimum. That won't work, because maximum value is 7, and then minimum value is 1, and then if you do 7 minus 1, that would be 6. But remember that you're forced to first buy and then sell. So if you choose this, there's no way that you can go backwards. So I just want to leave that very clear. Now, that being said, let's go into the board and go through this example. And I'm actually going to choose different numbers so we can, see this a little bit differently. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put the iPad in order to make the explanation a bit more graphic. Okay, so here I have the iPad. So I'm going to be writing here an example. So let's say that we have our prices. So prices, and let's say that this equals to, I'm gonna put something random, so 6, 2, 3, 8, 4, right? So I'm gonna put something that is not the same as the, okay, actually I'm gonna copy this and move it all the way to the top so it's better centered. So let me do that. There you go. That way you guys can see everything that I'm writing. Okay, so that is the example of prices, right? This is my array. So I'm gonna have my, I'm gonna have two variables here. I'm gonna have my minimum, which at this point I'm gonna assign it to the first element, right? So this is gonna be 6. Then my maximum right now will be equal to 0. What I'm going to do is the following. I'm gonna create a pointer, or not a pointer, but I'm just gonna iterate through the array once. So right now I'm pointing at the 6, and you can even also actually start by, you could start at the 2, because you just like already selected this element. Either or is fine. Actually we could do 6 too, it's fine, but since it's the same number, nothing is gonna happen, but whatever. So what we're gonna test, I'm actually gonna move this 2 also. That way we'll have more space to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, is 6 larger is 6 less than the minimum? No, it's exactly the same. So then we default to our next condition. Okay, if it's not less than the minimum, then we check our maximum and we say, okay, what is larger? Is max, you know, we're actually going to be using max, but you know, we'll do max of our previous value max, which is 0, or the current value, which is 6, minus our minimum, which also happens to be 6, which in this case both are 0. So we are just going to leave this as 0 because these are the same, right? 0, which is the initial value that we assigned max to, and 6 minus minimum, which is also 6, is also 0. So we have 0 and 0. Therefore, it doesn't matter. And we reassign max to 0. And we leave it as it was. Now we go to the next number. We go to 2. So is that less than our minimum? Yes, it is. So then we change minimum and we move on to the next price. Is 3 less than minimum? No. Okay, then we go to the max variable and we check. Okay, which number is bigger between the previous value max, which was 0, right? I'm actually gonna, that way we always have a reference to max. 0, and then I'm gonna put an arrow, like, cause we're gonna change it. So max 0 or our current value, which is 3, minus minimum, which is 2, right? So now the max value is going to be 1, right? Because this is 1 and this is 0, therefore the max value is 1. So now we're going to change max to 1. Okay, so now we move on to the next value. Okay, is 8 less than 2? No. So we don't check our minimum variable, right? We go straight into the maximum and we say, okay, what is bigger between 8 or, 1, which is our previous max, right? And then 8, which is our current value, minus the minimum, which our minimum value currently is 2, right? So this would be 6 and this would be 1. So our maximum value is the 8 minus the minimum, not the 1. Therefore, we're going to change 1 for 6. And then we can erase this. Then lastly, we move it to the 4. And then we say, okay, is 4 less than our minimum? No, it's not. Is, you know, then we like, is 4 less than 2? No, so then we go straight into the max variable and evaluate which value is larger between the previous max, which is 6, or 4, which is our current value, minus the minimum, which is 2, which this turns out to be 2, and this is just 6. Therefore, we stay with the 6. So at last, the only thing that we have to do, whatever value we have, we just return the max variable. Return max, which in this case, you know, is a 6. And you can easily see here, this is our minimum value, this is our largest value after this, and we can sell. We can also make this tricky where instead of doing this, I can, you know, move the 2 and the 4. Right? I move the 4 here and I put the 2. So our max would change because actually pause the video and see if you can, well, it's not that you can guess, it's very obvious, right? The minimum value before the 8, right, is the 3. Maximum value after the 3 obviously is the 8, therefore the max profit would be 5 in this case, right? Why? Because if we iterate, I'm gonna do it one more time, and I'm gonna go a little bit faster so I don't take too much time. You know, first value is the 6, the max is 0, right? So I'm gonna go into the 4 because this is going to remain the same. So is 4 less than 6? Yes. So I change it to 4. I go to the next value. Is 3 less than 4? Yes. So I change the value. Is 8 less than 3? No, it's not. So then we go straight into evaluating the max, which currently is 0. So we do max between 0 and 8 minus minimum, which in this case is 5, right? Because 8 minus 3 is 5. Therefore, we reassign maximum to 5, right? 8 minus 3, 5. And we'll move it one more time, which is 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes, it is. So we do change this, but there's nothing else to change the max for. So we just return the 5, even if our minimum changed. Okay, so hopefully this is very self-explanatory after the demonstration. So we're gonna move on to the coding portion. All right, so just as we just as I drew in the iPad, we're gonna emulate, or we're gonna try to replicate our algorithm. So what we're going to do is the following. I'm gonna set max equal to 0, and then I'm gonna set minimum equal to prices 0. Now, we can do two things. We can do let I equal 0 as long as I is less than prices.length I++, or I really don't mind to do let price of prices. Even though we're repeating the first item, which if we follow the first example, the first value would be 7, and so nothing would happen because at first we have minimum and current is also 7, so max would stay the same, minimum would also stay the same. So it is a little bit unnecessary, but it doesn't hurt the algorithm either, so it's fine. If you're too picky, then you can do let I equals 1 and then start from the 1 rather than the 7, but it really doesn't matter. Either or is fine. So essentially we're going to do the following. We're going to check exactly what we were checking before. If the current, which current is price, right, is less than our minimum. If it is less than our minimum, we're going to reassign minimum and then move on to the next value. Otherwise, if the value is not less than minimum, meaning it's equal or bigger or larger, whatever, then we're gonna say, okay, evaluate whether max or price minus minimum is bigger. So just like decide which one of these two is a bigger amount and reassign max to that. So we're going to be doing that every single round, and then after we finish, we should have the maximum profit. So you can rename this as max profit, and then whatever makes more sense to you, you can rename this to current, right? Because this is the current price essentially. But either or is fine. And here we go, we have accepted, and these milliseconds, don't pay attention to the variations. It's really not that much the variation. Sometimes the servers return like a faster time. If you set this in a different format, it may be faster, but I wouldn't really pay attention to it. So if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you like. See you later. Peace.